Hello, everyone. Welcome to How to Improve Your Zoom Recording in Just 5 Minutes. My goal is going to be to get this entire video done in just 5 minutes, and I'm actually answering a question that was proposed to me by someone who follows me and asks questions. So this is your hint. If you have a question about pretty much anything, Zoom, video, whatever, drop it in the chat and I'll be happy to answer it for you. I'll make a video just for you. In that vein, if you want to have ongoing support where you can come and ask questions all the time, I'd recommend that you join the Video Biz cohort. You can go to myscheduledbiz.com slash, it's actually videobizcohort.com, and the link is in the description of this video and in the chat. You can also set up a free 15-minute call with me. I only do one of these for each person. If you want to talk to me about your business, video, website management, anything along those lines, I'd be happy to have a discussion with you around that. So let's jump right into it. So I want to talk about Zoom. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. And we're going to look right at the settings. So the reason I'm doing this particular question is because I have tons of people that want to make videos and they already have Zoom. And so this is the easiest thing for them to work with. But what they find is they go to do a recording, especially if they have a guest, and they're trying to also screen share. And when they go to download the recording, it doesn't have the screen share, the guest, and them on it, or any combination of those things. Maybe it's only the screen share, it's only them, or it's only them and the guest, but no screen share. And so they're coming to me asking me, what do we do to make this work? So you're going to go into your Zoom account. So web.zoom.us, if you're in the US, if you're somewhere else, it's maybe slightly different. But you're going to either go into your account management account settings, or you're going to go into settings. And so this is going to be determined by either, are you the account holder, and or do you want these settings to apply to all people on your account? If you want it to apply to everyone, or if you're the only one that's on your account, you'll want to go to account management and then account settings. If you want it to be just on your specific part of the account and anybody else that's on there can do something different, then you're going to go to just regular settings. Both of these are going to look very similar, so it doesn't really matter, but I wanted to make sure you're aware of the difference between the two. So first you're going to do that. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the recording tab. So on the regular settings, it just says recording. On the account settings, it says recording and transcript. So, but you want to find the one that says recording. Then you're going to just look at the general tab, and the very first thing at the top, regardless of where you're at, should be what we're looking for. You're going to see a record to computer files. You want to make sure this is turned on, so just like how mine looks. You can see it looks the same over here. And then I want you to read this section right here, because this is the very first thing that's going to give you a clue as to why this isn't working for you. And that is that this is set to match. The recording will include video and shared content matching the recorder's view options right here. This little thing right here, this is the big clue that people miss. Whatever you have your settings to for how you're viewing it is what's going to come out when you get your recording, when you're recording to your computer. So there's no way to turn on like all the different views and get them all when you're recording to your computer. You're going to want to make sure that who can have permission to record doesn't matter. Really, the only option you have here is to turn it on or off and to make sure that when you're recording, you have the exact view that you want to have come onto your computer. So this is option one. Option one is to do recording on your computer. And if you have a lower tier plan where you don't have a lot of recording space, this is a huge temptation for many people to do because they don't want to have to deal with going in and deleting recordings. That being said, in my opinion, the better option is actually to do cloud recording. And so you're going to make sure this is turned on and then select literally everything except for interpretation. Most of us don't need that, but if you need interpretation, you can select that one as well. And what this is going to do is it's going to make it so every single time you record, you will get the active speaker with the shared screen, the gallery view with the shared screen, which means you would see you and any other people on the Zoom plus the shared screen. The active speaker, the problem with active speaker is it'll flip between you and whoever else is on the Zoom. Even if they just say like yes or the view will flip. And so you might be talking and suddenly it shows somebody else. So this is a really big problem, especially if you might want to take content out that just shows you. It's important that you have the ability to show just you with the shared screen. And so that's why you want to check this box. Record active speaker, gallery view, and shared screen separately, and then check each one. This means you'll have a whole video that's just the active speaker, a whole video that's just gallery view, and a whole video that's just shared screen. And this gives you the ability to take out just like on gallery view, you can take out just your picture, just your video, and be able to have just you. And so this selection right here is what's going to give you the most flexibility. It also means you have three completely separate videos, but if you're going to be using a video editor, that can sometimes be the better option. If you know you just want to take the video as it is and upload it, the record gallery view with shared screen is probably your best option. However, if you are the expert and you don't want to show any of your guests, the record active speaker with shared screen can work for you if you pin yourself as the active speaker during recording, and then it would only show you. Additionally, you may want audio only files so that you can separate tracks out for when you're doing video editing, depending upon, again, how advanced your editing skills are. I don't record the interpretation because everybody's going to be speaking English in my videos. And then I always check the saved chat messages from the meeting. So for me, one of the reasons this is important is because I do lives every single week with my cohort members. And when I drop something in the chat, they're going to need that when they watch the replay. And so I always save chat messages so that way I can just take the chat message file and drop it into my course portal, and they can always access that for anything that I gave them, links, or if someone else dropped something, they can see that and know what we're talking about. So then we come down to the advanced cloud recording settings. So you can turn on or off the timestamp. I do not like having a timestamp, so it's always off. The disadvantage of having a timestamp is it's always going to be there, and so if you wanted to just have a clean video, that's harder to get. You can also decide whether you want to display participants' names in the recording. Now, I keep this on because I think it's important for me to have it and make it easier on myself. But also, if I have an editor who's doing editing for me, it makes it easier for them to know who it was I was talking to, which is really important. Recording thumbnails when sharing. You can optimize the recording for third-party video editor. I actually don't have a strong reason for why this is off, except I do think that sometimes it can make it a little bit slower. And then I always have audio transcript on because, again, I want to download that transcript for a couple of reasons. One, in the case of a course or a weekly call that I want to have replays on. But then also I can take that transcript and give it to AI and pull out key points if I want to. So having the transcript on every single thing I do is really helpful to me. If there was a panel, you could also save that chat. Poll results, if you do a poll, which can be really useful. There are quizzes and polls and things that you can do in Zoom, which can really help you if you're doing some type of live presentation. Again, I always want the closed captions. And it doesn't really matter. Participants can host to start cloud, can request host to start cloud recording. Again, that's really a preference thing. It doesn't really matter. So those are the settings. The settings are the same regardless of whether you're in the regular settings or in the account settings. Now, when you do it in the account settings tab, that means that it will apply to every single person in your account. When you do it in the settings tab, it means it only applies to you. However you're logged in, that's who it will apply to. So that's gonna be the big difference between those two. Now, I wanna show you what it looks like once you have recorded. So if we are talking about cloud recording, and I don't wanna scroll up because then you'll be able to see information of a client, and I don't wanna do that. But when you go to recordings and transcripts, you're going to see the actual recordings. And these are the options you're going to have if you chose the settings that I just advised you to choose. You'll see I have one video that is shared screen with speaker view. I have one video that is shared screen with gallery view. I have one video that is speaker view, one that is just gallery view, and one that is shared screen. That is because I checked these three boxes. 1, 2, 3, and then all the sub boxes. So that has everything to do with this setting. What you see in the recording is going to be based upon what you select there. And so you can see I have those two have to do with these top two, and then this bottom one has to do with these three. These are each individual, sorry, these three. These are each individual videos that I get because of the way I have my settings. Now I also download all of the audio files, but this is the audio only. So this is of everybody. This is the audio version. And then of course I have the transcript, the chat file, and the closed captions. So those are always going to be there because of the way I put my settings. In addition to that, there's an auto file of each participant. Now, when you download, okay, so I'm going to scroll up. When you click this download button up here, it will actually download all of these things. Although on occasion, I do find either the chat or the closed caption doesn't download because there's some kind of error. So in those cases, you may need to come over and download those individually. So I would always check before you delete. And then the same thing with the audio files. These will not download automatically. So if you want each individual track for each individual person, you'll want to download each of those by clicking this download button. So that is what happens when you use cloud recording. Now, if you are on a lower price plan, like I am, you will only be able to record a certain number of videos before your cloud recording maxes out. So for me, what this looks like is I do a lot of recording every week. So every single week, I have to come in here, download everything I want, and then I upload it to my Google Drive. And then I also upload it to my course portals where they belong. And then I delete everything out. And then the next week, I have a clean slate. I can do all my recording and I don't have to worry about um, running out of space. Now, you can also upgrade your plan so that you have more space and then you wouldn't have to do that. But I actually find this is actually an advantage, not a disadvantage, because by having all of that limited amount of space, it means that I don't end up with a bunch of recordings that never get used. And this is something I've heard from clients over and over again. They end up with a whole lot of recordings that they never did anything with. And by having this limited amount of space where every single week it has to be monitored and fixed, I don't have that choice. I have to make sure these things get uploaded. Now, if you have a VA or someone who helps you, you can offboard this to them because it's going to be in the cloud, which means anyone can access it. When you record to your computer, only you can access it. And so that's also an advantage in my mind. Now, I have been doing this myself for as long as I've been teaching. Now, just recently, within the last week, I've asked one of my VAs to do it, so we'll see how it goes. But putting it in the cloud, in my opinion, even with limited storage, is actually a better option because I don't have to worry about making sure my settings are right every single time I record. I know I'm going to get every single video style that I need. I know that I'm going to get every single audio file that I need. And so that makes it easier for me. It's not one more thing I have to think of every single time I record. So, Chris, I hope you found that helpful. Thank you for submitting your question. And if you have another question about Zoom or about video or anything else, please drop that in the comments. I'd be happy to make a video just for you. Also, of course, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. I am so glad that we get to live our dreams together every single day. Have a good one. I hope to see you next time.